Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. In today's video I'm taking a look at the latest offering from Generation Toys. This is the GT-10 Gorilla. Now there is some debate on whether this figure should have got the go ahead or not. It's a very out there idea from them. Basically Generation Toys have a lot of their stuff knocked off. You get MBK and other companies copying all of their combiners, and it's frowned upon in the third-party community. Yet Generation Toys have based this idea off concept art from the T-Beast series from the Japanese artist. I'll include his name here, so I can't pronounce it. And he hasn't had any credit. And I'm just a little bit kerfuffled, you know, isn't that kind of exactly the same sort of thing? People are very quick to jump on the knockoff companies when they copy somebody's work or use artwork on their boxes, etc. Is this the same thing? Is it kind of blending that line? I'll let you be the judge, but as it stands, it's a very gorgeous looking figure, and they have pretty much nailed it. They've taken his concept art and his line drawings and basically got it spot on. Quick look around the box. We've got him in his alt mode. These are the sleeves, like Generation Toys or Warbatron or Transmission, whatever they're calling themselves these days. They always give us these really nice, solid as a rock boxes. We've got Gorilla on the front there. We get a nice poster, which is the instructions, but it doubles up as a poster of Prime in his beast and robot form. We get two of these nice swords, quite sharp on the hilt there, and we do get a nice crystal in the center there. These are really good looking pieces, very kind of reminiscent of what we got with Beast Wars, and it's a nice kind of re-envisioned look of them. This is the kind of combined hilts they've done as a one solid piece, as opposed to having these actually combine, and we can just slide the blades into the tip there. And we also get a mask to cover up that mouth. Not everybody likes that kind of humanoid look, and some prefer, like myself, the faceplate. And here we have him out of his foam prison, and doesn't he look outstanding? Really crisp, clean colours. Everything works exceptionally well on him. He's very imposing. He's a lot bigger than what I was expecting him to be. The swords look very menacing in hand. Straight out of the box, you have to just unpeg either side of his knee and extend this lower section to reveal all of the piston. That's just to get all of that extra height. Something we reverse when we're transforming him into his beast mode. Don't know if you can see from this, but we do get red LED lights in the head as well. Now, as good as he looks, he's definitely not perfect. There's something about the plastic quality that isn't quite up to the Generation Toys standard. I don't know what it is, but it feels slightly chalky. Reminds me very much of Unique Toys Auden. Some of the plastic on that, if you applied pressure in the wrong areas, it would stress quite easily, and I can see the same thing happening with this guy. I don't know if this is to do with the transformation, how they've done it, but he does seem very thin in parts, and I do have some concerns just how long the plastic is going to last before it gets those notorious stress marks. Get a nice closer look at those glowing eyes, exceptionally well sculpted. He's quite literally ripped directly from the artwork. Now there's a small button just on the back of the head there. That's what we pressed to turn the LED lights on and off. But the face sculpt itself, very, very well done. I actually quite like the kind of humanoid face. I didn't think I was going to, but I know a lot of people prefer the mouth guard, so to switch that out, you just want to get under the chin and just pull the whole lower face off. Now, I'm not sure if it's just mine, but I've got a lot of excess plastic on the top here where it's come out of the mould. I'm not overly happy with that, but let's slide that in, and there we go. There's the head with the new mask, and let's just pop that light on. There we go. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Having a look at some of the detailing, love these sections on the chest. Got a nice rippling six-pack there, Prime. Good look for you. It's these kind of areas that feel very, very thin, and I worry about putting excessive force on them. We've got some die cast in the feet here, this section here, which adds some nice heft and great balance to him. Coming around to the back, again very clean all the way throughout. Love the vents on this lower portion here. You have these tabs on either side which allow for the handles of the swords to be mounted so that they can hang down either side. At the moment they're placed in his hands using a peg system very similar to the Masterpiece line, although they've opted for a circular peg. I love the hands as well. Fingers are all different lengths. They have a natural curl to them, and when they do curl over, you can push and it looks incredibly natural. Again, around this area here, very thin plastic. Love the sound of the ratchets on this guy as well. But yeah, there's just something about him that just feels a little thin. And I think majority of this guy's heft has been bulked out with the die cast pieces. Looks wise, he's incredible, but it's just that feel. Just something about him is a little off. Now, critiquing his build quality aside, I've had this guy for a few days now, and he's actually becoming one of my favourite primes, which is kind of odd, really. I've never really seen myself as a big Beast Wars fan. I really liked their IDW Prime as well. This is a really good figure, but although I'm not 100% sold on the plastic quality, he's got that pick up and play value that some figures these days don't have. Yes, the plastic is a little bit more brittle in hand than I would have liked, but still, I haven't put the guy down. I keep posing him, messing around with him, and he's fun. As I previously mentioned, you can see that I've stored his swords on his back there, and we also get the option of just sliding the blades out and sliding them into the combined blade, and again we've got that circle tab so it can be held in either hand. He is action-packed with some glorious one-legged balance. Right, let's take a look at Prime's articulation. The head can move left and right very freely. We can actually tilt side to side, and the downward motion is nice, as too is the upward motion. There's a lot of play there. The shoulder, really nice outward motion, independent shoulder pad there, forwards and back, butterfly joint as well, which is always a really nice bonus. We've got upper bicep rotation. We've got a single jointed bend on this elbow. Coming down to the wrist, it is fully articulated with rotation and upwards and down pivot. The thumb is ball mounted with a pin. The fingers are pinned at the base. We have these two which are a fixed unit, and then these two have additional points of articulation. The waist is on a nice rotation, as well as an abdominal crunch forwards and backwards. The legs come this far forward on a soft ratchet, this far backwards, out to the side on a stronger ratchet there. Upper thigh rotation, not a great range on that ball socket, but enough. We get a pretty deep bend on the robot knee. The feet up and down on that lovely piston system, and we get some nice tilting left and right. We also get a little bit of articulation on the toe, which is really good if you're trying to get a good running pose, which this isn't. This isn't a good runner pose at all. Weight-wise, we're looking at 362 grams. That's 12.76 ounces. And Prime stands at around 9.5 inches from toe to tip of his head. That's around 24-25 centimeters. Right, now, as much as I love Prime in this mode, let's get him transformed up into his beast mode. You want to start off by pulling this piece off. The first few times you do it, it is incredibly stiff. These tabs tab in here. Then once you bring this piece down, this is going to fold outwards, rotate around so we see the gorilla face. That's then going to fold back in like that, and this is actually going to hinge directly upwards. And at the back here we've got these tabs. They're going to correspond with these tabs, and that's going to come up, and this is going to come up, and together they're just going to line up and tab in nicely over the top. And we have this piece here. You want to untab from this side, and you want to bring this tab up as well. Do that on both sides. And now that we've gained access to the back here, you want to just push this piece through to the front. That's going to come all the way out. This flips up and around to form part of the breastplate, and then this piece comes up and over, straighten off the head, and we want to bring this directly up to the top of that torso. This panel flips down, and there's actually a tab just on the inside of each of these sides. You want to extend those out. We want to rotate the waist around. There's a tab at the front which is going to lift up, and in doing so this can now be brought down, and that's going to marry up with that tab and just tab and secure the waist into position. This can now collapse in. These can now come around, and those are going to tab in on either side. And again, this back piece that we've extended is just going to come down and lock and latch underneath that center torso position. Right, you have these tabs on the back of these legs. You want to make sure that they are out. There's a small piece here that we flip down to make sure they're fully out. Normally they kind of hide on the inside, which allows for the thighs to bend around where the knee is. That's how we got that double jointed knee. Come to the leg section, lift this piece up, tuck that down, and then slide that back in. And we're now going to reverse the knees, and this is what we did as soon as we got him out of the box. You want to untab from both sides, and basically when we get him in the package, this is compressed upwards like so, and then this tabs in here and here on those panels on the legs, and then this comes down, and it's now compressed that leg up to a much more ape-like form. Do a quick switcheroony with the feet, bring that thumb piece out, switch these over, and then bring the die-cast panels in. And we're looking to have the legs compressed up so that the thighs go forwards, this knee bends in and sinks into this joint, and the feet are facing forward. So it's a very compressed leg with the pistons at the rear. And then lastly, we just need to modify the arms. So we want to untab this red tab. That now allows us to bring the arm outwards, and this whole joint here is going to lift down and extend like so, and then we can bring this back in, and that's just going to tab back into that joint. We can bend the fingers up and over on themselves to give it a much more ape-like look on those knuckles. And then you want to just bring this shoulder piece down, finishing it off. And lastly, depending on whether you want the cannons up or down, they can be extended or compressed as you see fit, but personally this does work for both bot and ape mode. If you just open up these tabs again, just so we can free up this backpack area, you can bring this back, and these are on rotating hinges. You just want to compress them fully down as much as they can go, and then we just want to rotate them around and around, and they just sink inside that cavity. So we can just close all of this back up again, and here we have him fully transformed up into his beast mode. And it's a really nice beast mode. It's a lot more appealing in hand than I thought it was going to be. I actually like how it looks quite a bit. You've got a lot of range, a lot of motion on this thing. Everything can kind of move where you would like it to. It's got a lot going for it. You've got these butterfly joints on the shoulders, which kind of really help the ape-like grasp. You have a new extension on the elbow, which again gives it a really kind of gorilla-esque vibe. I love the way the knuckles naturally bend down on those hands. We can really bring that shoulder right the way forward and make full use of that excellent range. Yes, we now have the waist in a kind of fixed position, trapped at the rear here and at the front of the crotch, but we get so much range on these legs that I really don't think we honestly need the waist at all. We've got so much range on this guy. I mean, that's a really good gorilla. Bravo! Generation Toys, bravo. Personally, I think the bot mode is the strongest of the two, but this is still an exceptionally good piece. If he needs to carry his swords, he still can, even though we've reshaped this backpack piece. All of the panels still line up and they sit in there exceptionally well. And again, as far as transformations go and size, he's still a really big figure. I mean, we could even get a really nice kind of chest beating pose off him. Let's just check out his full range of articulation. Head can look up and down. I like that there's still detailing along the underside of that head. It makes a lot of difference and does add to the sculpt. Can look left and right. We can't tilt anymore. We do have a movable jaw, so you can open and close his mouth. The shoulders, we use that butterfly joint as previously mentioned. We still get those really nice ratchets on there. We also get an additional bend on this elbow piece. We still get bicep rotation, and we still get to use some of that original bicep, but most of it is on this friction jointed bend. We get rotation on the wrist and the same articulation on the hands. As previously mentioned, the waist is now locked. We do get range on these legs, a little bit of hindrance from that bum panel there. We come out to the side and the legs come up and down and compress. The feet can bend as usual, and we do get that additional piece now on the toe, which can bend at another point there, so we can bend that toe right round if you see fit. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, Generation Toys Gorilla. A very nice piece. Still not convinced by the plastic that's been used, but there's a lot of panel forming on this guy, so maybe that's why it's slightly thinner than what I'm used to. I'm pretty heavy-handed, as you may well know, and I haven't broken him yet, so that always bodes well for a figure. Personally, I think the robot mode is the better of the two, but both are extremely well done, very true to the original source. Yes, I think they should have credited him, even if they named the figure after him, maybe. But that's a story for another day. Very much looking forward to their other figures. I believe they've got Sideswipe and Rodimus planned, and DX9 also has Rodimus planned, so it'll be interesting to see how those come out. If you would like to support the channel, I've included a link at the end of this video which takes you through to my Patreon page. Every penny counts, and we have scrolling credits of all of you awesome patrons who already support my content. Thanks again to the site sponsor Robot Kingdom for making this review possible, and until next time, from myself and Gorilla, thanks for watching. Goodbye.